We're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Welcome to another edition of Bro Talk Live, the best show on the internet for you by us. Bro Talk, we're always on the market. Your man Jason, happy to see you guys. A wonderful week. We have the usual cast and characters here. Let's kick it to my main man Dex. What up, bro? Are we going to do the unveiling?
Oh, well, I got a little haircut over the weekend. Go ahead, Dex. Oh, Dexter, can you? I'm sorry if you guys are listening on the podcast. You got to look at the live show for this. People be saying, "Why don't you bend all the way down? Why don't you show us your full head? How about you see the full head? What's up? What's up? Beer connecting." But in all seriousness, so we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the show, but I just want to touch on it real quick now because it was an error that I made. So last week during the show, we were talking about Nancy Pelosi and her crew. We talked about the new bill that they put in place. And one of the things that they said is like no more lynching. And I said, like, give us something that we could actually work with because we're not getting lynched anymore. Turned on the TV this week and I was absolutely wrong. Apparently lynching is still a thing in America.
We'll talk about more about that later. It's ridiculous.
And the only other thing the only other note I had is the haircutting contest. So I went ahead and I gave somebody the money or whatever just because you guys weren't playing fair. Like a lot of the guys were like, oh, I want to do it. And then they weren't throwing pictures and stuff up. So a woman won. And I'm not mad that a woman won. But I really want to do this for the guys because let me tell you this. I got my haircut last Friday and I have felt like walking on air, cloud nine, the best feeling ever. So for those of you guys who didn't enter, just stay ugly, I guess. I don't know.
Now, for the woman who gets the haircut, does she have to get like a boy haircut or can
no? Well, she has
a
haircut already, so she just gets what she gets.
Can we get like a taper fade? Like, can we like require that they get like a certain haircut?
I mean, she actually submitted a picture, like you know what I mean. So like, I guess that's thanks.
All right, Dex, you didn't get rave reviews on your hair. They hating already.
They see it.
Tyler God, what up?
I'm doing all right. I usually don't tell.
Oh, haircut. What?
Ooh,
step in on them.
The weed whacker came out.
So I was having a talk with Dexter, and I was like, I need to buy a hat, but my head is too big for hats. And so I was like, tried something out. I bought this little number.
Damn, that's
this is the biggest size they have.
And it's huge. Look at that hat.
But guess what, Ty? That hair is cut. You don't need no hat. Throw it to the side.
I had to actually go get the haircut because the hats, me and hats just don't get along.
You should. Are you not going to curve the bill? Like, you know,
I'm too. I have to give this away. I can't
mold it. You can mold the bill.
You got to mold that hat, Ty. You got to mold it.
You're missing the point. It doesn't fit.
If you hold on, let me see the strap. Turn it around. Let's see how much slack you got on the end of that strap.
This is as big as it gets.
Itty bitty on the end.
Like this is as big as it gets. It
Let me see the buckle. Let me see the buckle. How much slack you got on the end of that buckle?
I like none. I'm like, what?
You're poor dad.
I am dying.
Yeah, we should have actually all came on with like do-rags on and did like a little unveiler. Will got the wave swimming.
My hair's not cut.
Jason got the haircut. Like it's like what quarantine?
COVID is over. It's chalked.
Yeah, chalked.
We done with that.
Look, man, things are open. Things are open. Everybody got a haircut.
Yeah, we figured we'd be like you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Guys, it's been a crazy
Bill, how
week.
you doing? Bill's great. Thanks for asking.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't even say hi to you.
Being here. But the hair looks nice.
So tonight I'm wearing a shirt from my newly sponsored All Worlds Apparel. Do make sure you get your All Worlds Apparel. Okay? Get with it.
They're sponsoring you or you're sponsoring them?
If they're sponsoring me, get your life.
They're paying you to be on our show?
Absolutely.
And when do we get paid?
When you get yourself a sponsorship. Yes?
Nah.
Are we just supposed to Google that, or do we have a website?
Actually, you can go on Instagram at All Worlds Apparel, all one word, All Worlds Apparel, or you can just go to my Instagram story. Yes, it is a dick. Yes, this is a Dickie shirt over top of it.
Well, I don't know if that was a compliment. I was
Right.
really excited about a Dickie shirt.
Like a plumber.
Wait a minute, plumber.
Just wear the all world. And
I'm
Will,
out here to
you can't be out here talking about you have a sponsorship with All Worlds Apparel, which is a clothing line, and then talk about your Dickie shirt on top of it.
But I can. Oh, but I can.
That's not how it works.
Is
That's
Dickie
exactly
Dickie
how it works. Make sure y'all get yours. Okay, if it's on Instagram at All Worlds Apparel.
What are
All
you doing up here, Jason?
He definitely is.
Y'all are nasty. I don't like y'all little horse.
Changing the tune of this laughter. We're going to wrap this up really quick because we got some tragedy to report this week in Black Lives Matter as usual. We have to report some deaths. We'll start with the story of Rayshard Brooks. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says the officers were called to an Atlanta Wendy's after reports of a man sleeping in a drive-thru lane. Body camera footage released by the police showed 2 officers administering a sobriety test with his permission. Apparently it didn't work out. Officers then tried to handcuff him. A little scuffle happened. They kind of struggled with him on the ground, and then he grabbed the officer's taser and took it and ran. He turned around, pointed the taser at the officer, turned back around and continued to run. The officer shot him in the back. He ended up dying. On the video, the cop couldn't be heard saying, "I got him," kind of like he was like an animal like you got after you went hunting, after shooting him dead. Another black man killed by the police. Add that to the tally. But that's not all. As Dex referenced earlier, lynchings apparently once again are on trend across the country. The first series of lynchings happened in Portland, Oregon on May 27th. A black trans woman, TT Gully, was found hanging from a tree. They ended up ruling that death a suicide. The next 2 lynchings happened in California, about 30 miles north of where I am right now. In Palmdale, Robert Fuller was found hanging from a tree near the sheriff's station there. About 50 miles east of that, in Victorville, California, Malcolm Harsh was also found hanging from a tree. Both were ruled suicides. In New York, Dominique Taylor was found hanging on a low-hanging branch in Manhattan Park on June 9th. That death was also ruled a suicide by medical examiners. And in Houston, a Hispanic man was found hanging as well. His death was also ruled a suicide. His family is so far the only family to come out and say that their loved one was suicidal. So those are the lynching stories of the week. In other news, New York Detectives Endowment Association had an urgent safety message for all citizens. Urgent safety message, they wrote on Twitter. Tonight, 3 of our fellow officers were intentionally poisoned by 1 or more workers at the Shake Shack at 200 Broadway in Manhattan. Fortunately, they were not seriously harmed. Please see the safety alert. So after they reported this, apparently the officers were sick, had to go to the hospital, did a little investigation, and they released the following statement. After a thorough investigation by the NYPD's Manhattan South investigators, it's been determined that there was no criminality by Shake Shack's employees. So they made a fuss, and there was no criminal charge. Okay. Although the investigation is still ongoing at this point, NYPD investigators have found no criminality in how these officers got sick. Initially, it was reported that whatever toxic substance made the officers ill was intentionally placed in their drinks. Lies, I'm pretty sure they lied because they did the same thing last year. Story that happened when an officer claimed that a McDonald's worker wrote "effing pig" on a cup of coffee meant for him. After McDonald's pulled the tape, though, it showed that no one writing anything on the cup. The officers admitted that he lied and he actually resigned. So this has happened before where officers have lied and said that people have done things to them when it's a full lie. Like, they have no reason to dismiss this Shake Shack story, if it didn't actually happen. So someone lied there, or they found that the police actually poured the bleach in the cup probably on themselves and poisoned themselves like they normally do plant things like this. So guys, what do you think happened in the Shake Shack situation? And what do you feel about the news of all these lynchings that are happening across America?
I mean, the lynching thing. So I was just watching this documentary. It was called Let It Fall, Los Angeles, and then I also watched LA 92 on Netflix. And like it's one of those situations that for me, like these are things that have happened in late 80s, 1991, like early 90s and stuff, and we're still seeing this stuff happen today. Like this is sad. It's really unfortunate. And it's really heartbreaking too. And then to see that, like me as a person who's saying like I don't think lynchings are something that we should be concerned about in 2020, and to see that that's still happening, and like yes, I'm sure somebody did it to themselves, but like all these people, like come on, like this. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not rational. It's heartbreaking, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like everything is like nothing's changing. Everything is still just going in the same cycle over and over and over, and it's insulting to see. And then to see people are lying and saying like, you know, we're getting poisoned by Shake Shack. And I saw this other one where they said National Guard troops in DC, they put glass in their pizza, and like it turns out that never really happened. It's like you guys are making something that's so serious for us, you're making it nothing because you're trying to get attention off of it.
It's a game to them, and I was saying that last week. It's a game.
Something happened to me too. Like, look, they're trying to go after us, whatever, and it's like, no, it's not that serious. We don't have to go after you guys because we're too concerned about you guys doing stuff to us.
Exactly. Bill, how do you feel about the allegations of the police with the Shake Shack situation? And those hangings, like they can't all be suicides, right?
They certainly are not all suicides. When was the last, okay.
And 5 in a week, like it's
5 in 1 week, 5 in 1 week. And you mentioned the Hispanic male that was in Houston. You didn't mention the black male that was in Houston. That was found hanging.
They ruled that one to be the Hispanic. Apparently, it was 2 different stories going out, and there was a mix-up with whether the person was black or Hispanic. It was an issue reported to be a black male, though. You're right.
But what Will said, though, is something that just made something click to me was like, yeah, like all these things just happened within like 5 days or so, right after Nancy Pelosi announced that new bill that she was putting out there. So, like, that's a little concerning.
It's targeted.
Like, I'm going to tell you, I've had friends who have been suicidal, who have committed suicide. Nobody I've known has ever expressed desire. I don't know any person of color that would have committed suicide by hanging themselves on a tree. This is literally the most disgusting place I have ever lived. Like, why is there, and I've seen it written over and over again, why is there such a debate about ending racism? Like, why is there a debate? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Literally, what are we talking about? Let me tell you.
Your skin color is not my skin color, so you're inferior.
I mean,
what does that mean?
I have seen as studying history, whenever things like this happen over and over again in other countries, they usually take the dictators, the politicians, the people making the laws, and they drag them out and they slice their heads off at the guillotine. Here we are. We haven't even fully burned the country down yet.
Yeah. Ty, how do you feel? What do you feel about the Shake Shack situation? Like, we're all disgusted by the lynchings, but how do you feel about the police wanting to be the victim, as Dion said? And it seems like repeatedly, like they made a new law in some state where you can't pour water on a police officer, or else it's like a felony or something like that. It's getting ridiculous where, we're fighting them and they're just being petty.
There's this thing where it's like police behavior has always been justified with, oh, it's a dangerous job. And so all this is doing is trying to push the narrative like, see, look, we told you this is a dangerous job. You don't. So we have to act the way that we do, or we have to be vigilant. We have to be this way. We have to be that way because look what people are trying to do to us. And they're just trying to push that narrative that, oh, we are supposed to be acting this way because otherwise, there will be complete anarchy. It's time for a change. We're not accepting it. We don't believe your story. We know that police love planting evidence, and you just planted more evidence. You're probably trying to accuse somebody. We don't believe the story. It didn't happen. You probably, had a milkshake. You're lactose intolerant. You had to take a shit and go take it and goodbye.
Yep, absolutely. All right, moving on. I would be remiss if I didn't say rest in peace to Toyin Salu. She is an activist from Florida who was murdered by a black man, a 49-year-old black man. She had recently tweeted that she was going through sexual assault, and she trusted this man. This man ended up killing her along with another older white lady. She's dead as well. So, I mean, it's hard to kind of correlate these two, but it's interesting how the whole protection argument comes up again, and how black men are tasked with protecting people or protecting the women that are out there fighting for us. How do you feel our responsibility should change in situations like this, where, you know, people that show up for George Floyd and other black men, you know, there's no marches for, well, now there are marches for Breonna Taylor, but this didn't start with Breonna Taylor. It started with George Floyd and a black man. So a lot of people got out because of George Floyd. And how do you feel about the situation where people are saying, oh, yeah, black men don't protect us, they don't look out for us, they don't report our stories, there's erasure. I didn't want to erase this story, so that's why I brought it up.
I think we have to listen. I think one of the issues that we have as a society is there are a group of people who are saying this is a problem for our group, and you have other groups of people who are saying no, it's not. And so with black women saying, oh, we don't feel protected, then we need to listen. What are we doing as black men or as other people where black women don't feel protected? What are we doing?
Right.
We need to listen to that. Just like we're asking for other people to listen to us when we say there is a such thing as racial discrimination, there is a such thing as this, and they're going, oh, come on, that was a long time ago. Or we as black men, we're not going to turn around and say, oh, come on, I protect my woman. Like, if black women are saying that, then black men need to listen and see what we can do to help change that.
Very well said, Ty.
Yeah, and I think it would go, like, we would sound crazy if we said, like, we don't think black women show up to these protests and these marches, when you know they do. Like, a lot of our favorite political commentators and everything are black women. Like, I was watching the LA 92 thing yesterday, and I didn't know, but Maxine Waters was a big part of that. And it's kind of like, I think it goes without saying that black women have, like, really stepped up and have always been there for black men. And I think there's a lot of us who really do. We need to wise up. And I don't think that it just should be one of those situations where it doesn't have to be a Sandra Bland or Breonna Taylor situation for us to step up and do something. I watched the video on Instagram today where, like, a black woman was thrown into a garbage can, and people were looking and laughing at it. I think stepping in for a black woman is right there. Like, you step in and you help that woman. You tell these guys, like, what are you doing? You question it. You say something about it. Even the situation I saw, like, in New York, where there was, like, a black trans woman who was being, like, brutally assaulted by a group of men. Nobody thought to say, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I think it gets to a point where, like, no matter if you feel like you're part of this group or not, like, you're not a woman, you're not trans or whatever, but you are a black man. You need to step up and you need to do something about that. You need to say something.
Yeah, we need to move past, like, the point where we're taking rights away from other people. Like, we really need to move past that. Like, it's ridiculous that in 2020 we are still discussing who has rights and who don't. Like, who doesn't. Like, it's time for us to move on from this whole thing. Like, we could become so much more progressive if we stop trying to keep other people down. Like, stop worrying about who has rights, who doesn't, who can do this, who can do that. Like, mind your damn business. If that's what you do.
And we remain a marginalized group, still marginalizing other people.
Yeah, it's part of the system.
I was having this conversation earlier today and then yesterday. Like, when with Dex, you said you saw a video of a woman being thrown into a trash can on Instagram, and Ty, you said, and you also mentioned the woman in New York, like, getting beat. Like, at what point will you step in? These are our sisters. These are our mothers, our daughters, our nieces. At what point do you step in and say that's enough is enough? These same black women are the same black women who are the backbones in our communities, raising our children, making a way out of no way, day in and day out. At what point, like, at what point will at what point do we step in and be like, yo, like, you actually have, like, it's more than just a hashtag, like, actually protect black women at all costs? At what point do, like, somebody, like, you have to step up and say something?
And one more thing, these will also be the same black women who will be protesting and maybe even rioting in some situations if you were gunned down in the street.
Yep.
Like, keep that in mind too.
Absolutely. Very well said, guys. Awkward transition. As protests continues, sports leagues, like most organizations, are looking to return to work. But with the coronavirus and sorry, before I get back to that, Ty, I just want to let you know you're getting a lot of praise in the words
Hey
here.
everybody, how are you?
Just want to let you know before we moved on, I couldn't really come back to that. So just want to let
What
you know.
about me?
You didn't get
What
anything.
about me?
As the protest continues, like I said, sports leagues, like most organizations, are looking to return to work. But with the coronavirus and now the protests across the country, some athletes think that now is the wrong time to try to come back. One of those athletes is Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving. We've talked about him before. He's one of the people who believes that the earth was flat. Kind of said he was joking about it, but I think he wanted to be smart. He organized a meeting with about 80 members of the Players Coalition, of which he is a vice president, and spoke up about not supporting a return to play. Stadium's Shams Charania tweeted the following. Kyrie Irving told the NBA players on a call on Friday, "I don't support going into Orlando. I'm not with the systemic racism and the BS. Something smells a little fishy." He continued by saying, "I'm willing to give up everything I have for social reform." ESPN senior NBA reporter Adrian Wojnarowski said, "One respected NBA player tells me once we start playing basketball again, the news will turn from systemic racism to who did what in the game last night. It's a crucial time for us to be able to play and blend that to impact what's happening in our communities." He continued by saying, "There's no singular conversation driving discussion among players. It isn't just the Black Lives Matter movement or the coronavirus or bubble limitations or family concerns or risk of injury or money. Many players are discussing and weighing it all." But Kyrie is not getting unanimous support in this. Matt Barnes, former NBA player, said Kyrie needs to stop BSing. Sitting out without a cause or a purpose defeats the purpose. And then it also divides us, end quote. I'm not going to read this whole quote from Austin Rivers, but basically he said that you can do both. You can play and you can also have social activism. You could be a social activist. Look at LeBron James. He's been doing that for the last, 10 or so years. He's been playing basketball and building schools and fighting for social reform and speaking out against racism and other things like that. Only when it comes to Black people. I will not say that he's been doing so with things like China. He kind of caved to that pressure, but with Black people, he kind of sticks up for his own. So what Austin Rivers was saying, you can do both. You can, still get paid, support your community with the money that you're getting paid with, and, fight for social justice. Dwight Howard does not agree. NBA player Dwight Howard, Lakers forward, agrees with Kyrie. He ended up speaking with Don Lemon about it.
I just feel like our people, we need attention. I really feel like our world is hurting right now. There's so much stuff going on in our world, man, and I just feel like, it's just, we don't need to get distracted by anything. I would definitely want to play, win a championship, but I don't want anything to distract us from really what's going on in our world. It's hurting. I just believe that, God is trying to get all our attention. Every single one of us, God is trying to get all our attentions. He wants our attention. We need to focus right now. And I believe anything that can distract us from being balanced and one with ourselves and, trying to get united and coming together, I think it'll be a distraction. And, I just really, personally, anything that can cause us to get away from coming together right now can be a distraction.
Patrick Beverly disagrees. Clippers point guard put it plain and simple, saying, "Hooper say y'all say what you want. If King James, talking about LeBron, says he hooping, we all hooping. Not personal, only business."
And that's the problem.
The Players Coalition released a formal statement telling ESPN that they have had enough and they're combating the issues that matter the most. They will not accept racial injustices that continue to be ignored in our communities. And stuff like that. So, guys, do you see the effectiveness of shutting down the NBA in order to keep eyes focused on social justice, or do you think it's just a big farce? What do you think about the situation?
I'll start. Here's the thing: if at some point, if you're really angry, you have to do something. If all Black people just stopped showing up to work, they have no other choice but to listen. But the problem is, and you see it with whomever, Barkley Jr., whoever that is. If one person's like, "Oh no, we're going to work. We're going to break the picket lines," everybody's going back in, and it's ineffective. How long did the boycotts last? The bus boycotts last in Selma, Alabama? Like 182 days. These people can't even miss one season of basketball. Like, are you kidding me?
An argument to that is one that Shannon Sharp made the other day, though, is that during those protests back in the 60s, people were still going to work. Like, it's not like people were skipping work. People were
going to work, but they were tanking the economy. So they got together and was like, "Hey, we're not going to use the bus system." Okay, so maybe it's not the bus system for us. That won't make the difference. What makes the difference? The NBA, because we are the entertainment. We're the ones spending the money. So if we stop showing up to the games, if we stop showing up to play the games, then they have no other choice but to listen to us. If we stop showing up paying for the NFL tickets, if we stop showing up working at the NFL, they have no other choice but to. They don't have any of these sports leagues without us.
What do you feel about the people who say that these people
spectators in?
What do you feel about the people who say that, you're affecting more than just basketball players with this? Like, you're affecting stadium crews and people who work in the front office and people who work, in the business side of the organization. Like, if there's not an NBA season, those people might not be able to work or they might be laid off.
They're not discriminated against at all. Okay.
There's some black people that work in those positions. They're not all white.
I think this goes to this whole situation where, like, we're able to do more than one thing at a time. And I'm really conflicted with this, but I have two thoughts on it. Like, one, I remember, and I know Bro Talk Live is nowhere near the NBA. However, a couple weeks ago, it was Blackout Tuesday. And I remember debating with myself, like, does it make sense for us to do this show? I feel like doing the show tonight would be a distraction for what's actually going on in the world. We did the show and it turned out amazing. I'm really happy we did it. So it's kind of like, okay, like, you can do two things at one time. You can advocate and you can also go to work, if you will. But then I started to think about it, and I do think it would be a distraction because I remember when the coronavirus stuff was happening, I had a coworker who would come to my desk every day to talk about the coronavirus stuff, and we didn't care. It was just kind of like, okay, like, it's happening, like, whatever, it's over there in China, messing them up. I'm sorry to hear that, whatever. In America, I feel like we didn't start paying attention and looking at the coronavirus stuff until they canceled the NBA season. That's when we start focusing, in my opinion, fully on the coronavirus. Like, this is something serious. We got to pay attention to it. So and now that we don't have the NBA and we don't have all these distractions and entertainment things that we normally like to look at, we are paying more attention to Black Lives Matter. We are, like, that's the conversation right now across the news stations every day. That's what we're discussing, Black Lives Matter and the stuff that's happening right now. And I do fear that if we just get back on the court and shut up and dribble, I guess these people, and LeBron James has been doing it forever, like, still talking about the plight of African Americans. Yes, it's still there. However, I do think we take away a lot of that spotlight that's currently getting. Like, ESPN right now is talking about Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be talking about this stuff when they actually have games to cover.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But I mean, I just want to remind you guys, if you guys aren't basketball fans, I just want to remind you about who the hell Kyrie Irving. I'll give you three quick facts about Kyrie Irving.
I'm not saying that he's a great person.
No, I'm not going to dog him. I'm just giving you perspective on the person who presented.
He's not playing at all.
I don't have a problem with the actual idea. I have a problem with the person who communicated the idea because, one, Kyrie Irving doesn't play games. He's never done a full season. Number one, he's always hurt. He's always getting paid not to play basketball games. Number two, he also wants to seem like the smartest person in the room. The first time we talked about Kyrie Irving on this show was to say that he's a flat earther. He's saying that the world is flat and we need to research it. Kyrie Irving enjoys trying to be the smartest person in the room. And number three, him and LeBron James used to be teammates. LeBron James is number one in the league right now. And it does not at all hurt Kyrie in order to cancel the NBA season for whatever reason to get back at LeBron James. I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm just saying this is who we're dealing with. And that's just a situation that you also have to factor in the whole situation. It could be a personal reason. It could be a reason for, the movement. But I just don't know if I completely trust Kyrie Irving to be the messenger of this.
Yeah, but like I just feel like those kind of statements, though, when you say that, you look at it like, well, this person shouldn't be leading any type of charges or whatever. I'm not saying you're saying that, but when you present those kind of arguments, then people look
he's
at
not playing. But the thing is, he's offering to say, okay, we shouldn't play. He's not playing anyway. He already said, if we do come back, I'm not playing. So
I
he
get
has
that, but there's
nothing to
others
lose.
who are playing who could look at what he's saying and saying, like, you know what, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. He's just presenting another side of an argument.
He should be, but he should have given that argument to someone else. I think it would have been
Nobody, but the biggest players aren't necessarily jumping in on this, so he had to be the one to put it out.
Maybe because the biggest players like LeBron James already do that stuff and play at the same time.
And
Curtis
look we're still dealing with.
Curtis says, I agree with Kyrie. They are pushing hard to bring things back, to take our people's minds off of what we're focused on right now, again, to change the narrative. Eric says, if Kyrie and Dwight want to not play basketball, they need to both be on the front line with a peaceful protest and not sitting in their mansions. It's a lot. It's varying opinions on this whole thing. He could be the messenger and speak and say what others are afraid to say because of the penalties of what would happen to them. I mean, it's a players coalition. You guys are supposed to be doing things like that. I wish I could get paid millions not to work. Me too. So yeah, we appreciate all you guys' opinions. Hit us up, brotalklive.com, and we will get to more of them. Sorry, Ty, I couldn't get to you. I'm sure you didn't really care because you don't watch basketball anyway. Next up, we have
like that. I'm sick of you.
White Blessings. Gospel rapper Lecrae sat down for a conversation I'm sure he wishes he never had with Chick-fil-A CEO Dan Cathy and Houston megachurch pastor Louis Giglio.
It's interesting because I feel like on the inside of the church, we're fighting this historical context you talk about. In other words, we love the blessing of the cross, but we don't love to sit in it and realize this is what God's asking me to do, to die to myself and to live for him, whatever context that's going to look like for me. But I want to flip that upside down because I think the other side of it is true with our nation's history. We understand the curse that was slavery, white people do, and we say that was bad, but we miss the blessing of slavery, that it actually built up the framework for the world that white people live in and lived in. And so a lot of people call this white privilege, and when you say those two words, it just is like a fuse goes off for a lot of white people because they don't want somebody telling them to check their privilege. And so I know that you and I both have struggled in these days with, hey, if the phrase is the trip up, let's get over the phrase and let's get down to the heart. Sure. Let's get down to what then do you want to call it. And I think maybe a great thing for me is to call it white blessing, that I'm living in the blessing of the curse that happened generationally that allowed me to grow up in Atlanta.
Bill, take it away.
How are you so unbiblically, how are you so biblically unsound and so foolish? First and foremost, you've got like platinum blonde hair. I'm not listening to anything you're saying. Nothing you say out of your mouth with those skinny ripped jeans. And are y'all supposed to be at a church? Turn them lights on. Sinners. Men love darkness rather than light because they're deeds of evil. Turn them lights on, and then we can have a conversation. I'm not talking to, here's the thing. I'm not listening. I'm not talking to nobody in 2020 or forward with platinum blonde hair, them damn biker jackets, them ripped jeans, or dark churches. I don't want to hear nothing y'all got to say. Everything this man said out of his mouth is irrelevant. And Lecrae should have checked that man on it. That's part of the problem. Y'all keep letting these people go on and blabber on and say this foolishness out of their faces. You need to check these people where they are. Stop letting them go on with this because they think it's okay.
Yeah, the part that killed me was he's sitting there did y'all talk about this before and you agreed?
Lecrae apologized for.
Of course he did.
He just said he didn't really know what to say at the time. He was kind of stunned, so that's why he kind of just.
Can I just say something real quick? So
you agree? You agree? It's fine.
So I look at it like this, and I get hearing that is a little jarring to people. But to be honest with you, we're kind of in this he acknowledged that he says like, you know, like slavery, we know that slavery was a bad thing. We get that. He said that slavery was a bad thing, and it was. And then he went on to say, like, in my opinion, this is how I heard it. White people who we're trying to have this open conversation with, they don't understand it when we say like white privilege. They look at that.
Well, they didn't understand Black Lives Matter 4 years ago either, right?
Let me just finish this.
Just so you know.
So when we say like white privilege and throw that out there, I think people take that as an insult. I really do. I don't think that they realize like white privilege is saying that you guys have something that we don't have access to. Like you guys have something that we can't have it. We don't have, like, you guys are blessed. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's sugarcoating it. It's white privilege and white blessings is the same thing. But I feel like what he's trying to say is that if we sugarcoated it to them, they would catch it a little bit easier. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so but I want to deal with that from a pastoral, if you will, perspective. That means he's teaching his entire church wrong, because Jesus was a social activist, number one. So the fact that your church doesn't even understand what it means, like how dare you desecrate the scripture and then call a curse a blessing? You are out of order. Like,
that's not what he's saying, though. But that's the thing. He's not saying slavery was the blessing. He's saying that white, like, people.
He said that out of his mouth. He said, "We're living in the blessing of the curse." There's no like. Shut up.
I really don't think that's what he was trying to say.
The curse view
They're saying that. I don't think that's what he was trying to say. I really do think he's saying that for white people, this whole conversation needs to be dumbed down. Because when we say white privilege, I feel like people feel like we're talking at them versus we say, like, you know what, you guys are living in a blessing. Like, that's what you have right now. And it's talking to them, like, level.
Yeah, but you thank God for your blessings. Like, no one's going to thank God and say, thank God for slavery. Like,
you wouldn't say, I don't
do that.
I'll tell you one thing.
But you would say thank God.
Blessing, no, because if it's a blessing from God, the blessings of God don't cause worry in your life. They bring the peace of God. And this is clearly not peace. We're burning the country to the ground. So you're out of order. That's part of the problem in our communities. We traded in our sound that God gave us for these damn white churches, these turning lights off. And like this, it's nonsense. And
I'm not trying to disagree. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think he's trying to say slavery was such a big blessing for us. I think what they're trying to say is, instead of calling it a white privilege, if you call it a white blessing, they would
call it what it is. No.
What Curtis said makes sense,
what
though.
it is.
You can't substitute the word privilege for blessing.
Like, you keep cleaning stuff up for these people.
Let me read the tweet. Let me read the comment.
What they're doing.
Let me read the comment. He just said, you can't substitute the word privilege for blessing. That's saying whites are blessed and blacks aren't. It is.
It's the truth, though.
What do you mean it's the truth? What are you talking about?
In this situation, overall, like, we're saying Black Lives Matter and stuff like that because, like, these people have something that we don't have. They have privilege. White people are blessed to have the privilege that they have. That is a blessing. Are you like? I don't understand.
It's a privilege.
Like, Black Lives Matter. Like,
if you still hold up,
this man is spouting out. That's not a blessing. They don't live.
If you steal $1 million out the bank, it's not a blessing. You
We
stole
can't do
that
it at
money.
the same time. One person at a time, please.
I said, Dex, if you steal $1 million out the bank, it's not a blessing. You stole it. Like, you might have an advantage because of it, but you didn't. It's not a blessing. You stole it.
So then, what is white privilege then?
White privilege is privilege.
Okay.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the issue is trying to change it to make it more palatable or easier for white people. It's not necessary. Like, they need to get with the program and they need to understand, like, this is a thing. We're not making this stuff up. That's the problem. Like, people are telling you things and you're pretending that those things don't exist. That's the issue that we're all having in social justice. We're pretending things don't exist. We need to call things what they are so that we can deal with them.
All right, cool. Let's move on. Dex, someone we haven't talked about in a while. Oh, did Dex leave? Dex leave the damn show? I think he left. It's Kanye West. My question is the old Kanye back? Recently, a string of reports have come out to say that Kanye faked support of Donald Trump in order to get close enough to help get innocent people out of jail. So this is all a ruse, an elaborate ruse by Kanye to to get people out of jail. In a podcast interview back in 2019, rapper GLC, fellow Chicago rapper, revealed that Kanye handed him a box of hats, those MAGA hats, and said that he would never wear the hat again because he said, bro, I'm just telling you that we got that amazing woman out of jail in Florida, right? We really didn't get to have that meeting until I put the hat on. So he's looking at it more as, okay, I'll wear the hat. I get the stones thrown at me, and I'll have people hating me, but people gonna get free. Since then, he's devoted himself to his newest venture, gospel music, releasing 2 albums in that span. And recently, he decided to become part of the George Floyd movement, with Kanye donating $2 million to the families of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. He also took care of securing a college education for the daughter of George Floyd. Kanye was also seen out protesting in Chicago for, the police not to be involved with Chicago's school system. But he has yet to come out to say that his support was fake. In fact, in a GQ interview earlier this year, Kanye said, quote, "We know who I'm voting for. We know who I'm voting for. We all know. We all know." So do you believe that Kanye had an ulterior motive when buddying up to Trump, or is it just who he is?
Why do we always do this? Like, we always do this thing where, like, people never wanted to cancel Kanye. They never wanted to be upset with Kanye. So it's like one of these things like, look, he did this, so let's just automatically rush to say, like, this whole thing was a ruse. It was a lie. The Kanye didn't do this to us. Like, stop it with the BS. Like, Kanye West did this stuff because he thought it was the right thing to do. And that's the reason why he did it. Like, stop it.
And that's it.
I'm a little upset too because I just feel like I was attacked in the last segment, and I don't like that.
We're moving.
Do you feel like Kanye is was this all an elaborate ruse, Ty?
I stand with Dexter. I'm going to move forward with Kanye. I'm done.
So you're willing to take Chris Brown back?
Jason, what is wrong with you? You're trying to force your opinions on us left and right tonight.
I'm just asking. I'm holding people accountable. Asking Ty.
What did Chris Brown do?
Huh?
What did he do?
What do you mean? What did he do, Ty? We spent our first 3 years every week talking about the crap that Chris Brown did.
Those are. That's what happens when
He
you're.
beat up Rihanna. He threw that rock through his mom's window. He threw that chair out of the window at Good Morning America, which is on the 54th floor.
Out in front of the world and make them famous. You don't raise them properly. Those are things they do. He was coming into his own. You'll see him doing that stuff anymore.
What about
his mom's fault?
Kanye's making gospel music now.
Yeah, it's her fault.
Oh, please.
Kanye's making gospel music.
Kanye betrayed us. That's totally different. Betrayal.
Dex, you're getting some feedback. Ain't nobody attack you.
I feel attacked. Look. Yeah, I was hurt. I had to exit off the screen.
You left. Bill, how do you feel about Kanye? You former
I stand with Dex. What all of what Dex said, and we're moving.
Right.
From Kanye, and we're now moving to Q&A.
It's time for Q&A, fellas.
I don't even know if we can call it quarantine and answer anymore because I think
quarantine
out here acting crazy, haircuts and whatnot. But some of y'all still got messed up lives and y'all still need help. So it's time for question and answer. We have COVID at the function. What? I don't know, baby. Dirt that could hurt. Get out of here, Linda. Another lying Karen. What y'all want to do?
All of them?
They do not have time for all of them. I can tell you that.
You peed on them definitions. I can tell you
I
that.
peed on them.
Let's start with Karen.
Peed on them titles.
Jason, do we have Karen videos this week?
Yes, we do. We actually have Klub Karen.
All right, let's hit up Karen, man.
Klub Karen is back.
So what are we starting with? COVID at the function?
Jason, tell us the best one.
The best one is either F out of here, Linda. Dirt that could hurt is pretty good.
I feel like that's good. Let's do dirt that can hurt.
Dirt that can hurt sounds real good. Let's do that.
That sounds good, don't it?
It's not great. It's good. It's not great. We've had better.
All right. We are doctors. Bum 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 bum.
I was thinking it too.
Hey, y'all.
I won't specify what field for the sake of anonymity. To maintain yearly CE requirements, doctors attend a lot of conferences, courses, outings, etc. During these conferences/meetings, many of the evening events involve socials and alcohol. Quite a few of my colleagues tend to drink a lot and speak openly without any filter. Many have expressed their racist, homophobic, sexist views, as well as numerous other unprofessional things. I've secretly recorded everything that was said around me on my
Nasty.
You never know when you may need leverage in the future.
Come through.
Come on, mess. If these
Let's see.
were to be made public, these doctors' practices would probably be ruined and cost them hundreds of thousands. I don't intend on using these recordings, but want to have them just in case. Should I leverage the fact that I have this information or just hold on to it for the right time? Well,
That's messy as hell. Very messy. That is very messy.
dying.
Send them to us, please.
If
My
something
Instagram is at KillBill4.
Yeah, send it to us and we'll leak them.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
leak
you
it. You don't gotta do it. You don't gotta do it yourself. We could just
For you guys
throw
who
it
don't
up
know
on Twitter.
what peeing on something means, this is slang that Jason taught me in college.
First of all, I'm not teaching you.
Jason, you did teach us this.
I don't
slang.
know why, but I just use. I think it's funny. I don't know what that means.
Jason, you did teach us that slang.
You told us what you told us that. Like you said, if somebody does something real cool, you'd be like, "Oh, he peed on that," and I don't know what that means. Is that like a Baltimore thing?
I don't remember what it means either. But
And you definitely said it. I got a secret recording of you.
Okay, play it.
Jason, you might as well do this because you're king of secret recordings and
Let the record show who brought peed up with Jack, all right? Peed up.
Listen, I would leak it. This is the time to leak it now. Let's leak it.
Wait, no, hold it. Hold up, brother. Don't go. You got to understand what you got in your hands and what you want.
Oh, well, you already jumping down the wrong path.
Upload your
Your company
on Facebook and let everybody see what's going on.
Look, if your company released one of those public statements, how they stand with Black Lives Matters, this, that, and that. Oh, Brandon Messers, that's my guy there. So look, if your company release one of those statements saying like, look, we stand with Black Lives Matter, so forth and so on, you have to go to the news, CNN or something like that with that. You're not going to leverage it to get anything out of it because it's not about you. It's about the culture overall. If these are doctors and medical professionals, they should not be working with Black people.
Hold on. Here's the other thing. You leveraging this, you know that's actually illegal. Like exploitation.
He's not going to do it. Or he's not gonna do it.
Blackmail. Like that's what it is.
We're not blackmail. We're not going to, because we're not trying to get nothing out of it. We're going to put it out there because we want these people to be dealt with legally. We're not going to get nothing out of it.
They're working with people and they have all these discriminatory things to say. That's actually very, very dangerous that doctors look at people a certain way and make decisions based on what they think about those people. And that could cost people their lives. So I don't think that it's appropriate for you to sit on those things. I would have been leaked them things.
Where would you have leaked them tied to Facebook? Like where would you put them?
Well, Reddit? Put a Dropbox and put it on Facebook where everybody can see it.
TMZ. I can get you a contact at TMZ. I have one.
They're not hard to find. TMZ's got their hands out everywhere looking for information.
Good you got with me. I'm at TMZ. What you got? What you got?
Boy, says he's about to take down the whole medical community. We won't need health insurance then. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Get them on down.
All right.
It's time to get rid of these people, man. It's time to call these people out. We're done with these people. We're putting these assholes out the pasture.
Take that dog out back and shoot it.
All right, we got time for like a half.
All right, what we doing?
I want COVID at the function. I also want F out of here, Linda. Let's do F out of here, Linda.
I want Linda.
I want Linda. It's kind of long. Go read fast.
All right. Oh, girl.
Read fast, Bill.
Can you do that live? Oh, okay, here we go.
That's small. You read it?
This is written like a Russian spy guy.
You want me to read it?
My father has recently gotten in touch with his sisters after some long family conflict that they finally resolved. I got dark energy from my aunt, Linda, as soon as I met her. She seemed to overstep her boundaries. Immediately, she asked me what I wanted to be after I graduate. I told her a dermatologist, and she said, you don't seem the type to be cut out for that. Are you sure?
Nasty.
I let it slide.
That's the problem. Y'all let stuff slide.
Right.
Read.
The next time I saw her, I made brownies for a party, and then she told me they could use a little less time in the oven. She then had a conversation with me and asked about my school life. I told her I had a 4.0 GPA and made the dean's list every semester. She went, well, my daughter Nene we'll call her, wasn't very smart, but she is an entrepreneur now, so you don't have to be school smart. It's not that big of a deal. I felt this invalidated my hard work. Again, I let it slide. That's your problem.
See?
Letting it slide like y'all playing softball or something, sis. None of this really got me heated until the other day. My dad was on Zoom with Linda, with me in the room, and Linda was talking about Nene's entrepreneurship. I went on Nene's Facebook, where she had been consistently posting videos of her Ubering. Not my idea of an entrepreneur. Like, I hope your daughter will be successful as mine one day because she's got potential. I said, I'm sorry, Linda, but please, F her. Your daughter is not an entrepreneur. She drives for Uber. My mother thought the interaction was quite funny, but my dad is pissed and refuses to talk to me. Edit. I'd like to add that I'm not invalidating anyone that drives for Uber. A job is a job, but her lying to me was not necessary. Do I need to apologize?
Girl, you barely even know her. Y'all wasn't even family before last month. What you talking about?
Yeah, but dad is probably like, I just made up with this. Come on. And like,
so here's the thing. Here's the problem. I have a 10-second rule. If you say something and I can get over it in 10 seconds, then I may not say something. Actually,
Right.
5 seconds. I give myself 5 seconds to stew on what you said, and then I'm like, I can get over it in 5 seconds. If I can't get over it in 5 seconds, I'm telling you off immediately.
Yeah,
Well, 5 seconds later. That's my rule. And it don't sound like you got over it in 5 seconds. So you should have told Linda's ass off already the first time.
Let me listen, I tell everybody I know, life is short, baby. Cuss them people out.
You only get one chance.
You'll know if you're going to see Linda tomorrow, honey. Cuss her out. Don't have her wondering. Don't keep all that on the inside, baby.
The crazy thing is, William and I get the same advice for this type of stuff every week. The problem is y'all got to stop letting stuff slide.
the issues that me and Jason start to slide in there, and then we'll say like, well, you really shouldn't have cursed her out or whatever. And I honestly would just apologize just to keep the peace with my dad, but I also just wouldn't have anything else to do with her.
Please, he get to acting crazy. Cuss him out too.
I'm a Sagittarius, by the way. It's somebody who's
I'm an Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius. Somebody said
Sagittarius, but I don't let nothing slide. I don't know why people let stuff slide. Like, I don't.
The thing is, does it really bother you that much where you got to have like family turmoil? Like, is it that serious?
Absolutely. A family member is not about to sit in my presence and talk shit. Who are you?
People know what they are doing. People know what they're saying, and if you let it slide, they're gonna keep it going. You give the people an inch, they take a mile. Baby, we're gonna cut this ruler off and we're gonna burn it at the tips, and then you get what you get.
Okay, grandma.
My whole family knows. Like, we're very respectful now because I go off. I got any hint. Like, I'm flying off.
You're right.
Fire energy, Ty. That's what you got. Fire energy. That's what it is. Like young Miami said, y'all gotta stop playing with these people. Stop playing with these people. Stop playing with them. All right. For more Q&A, hit us up, brotalklive.com/questions. Just a time. So like I told you guys before, it is Klub Karen today. Back to Klub Karen.
Jesus. Right. Let me tell you something. I know that represents care, but y'all ever pissed off a military wife? Ooh, Jesus.
She got the haircut too.
Ooh, that's the one. Right. My husband's a sergeant.
Okay, Miss All Life Matter.
Welcome back to Klub Karen. We get all the Karens together and learn a little bit more about their plight. The first Karen coming down the square dance line this week is none other than
can't be more offensive than this. What is wrong with you?
Go ahead, Jason.
Fat Karen.
Trash.
Hey, listen to me. We don't play games here anymore, okay? Next time you ever talk to me like that, you're gonna get your ass kicked by my family. They're gonna fuck you up.
What did I do?
Right. They're gonna fuck you
Why?
up.
What did I do?
Because you are an asshole. Look at the whole stairs to
But
yourself.
you had these
Why
stairs
don't
and
you go
that
somewhere
stairs.
else where you can go to a gym? This is not just for you.
Oh, you
Get
need
the fuck out of this world. Get the fuck out of this state. Go go back to whatever fucking Asian country you belong in.
Okay,
You little
racist.
fucking bitch. This is not your place. This is not your home. We do not want you here. You put that on Facebook. I hope you do. Because every fucking person will beat the crap out of you from here on out. Don't you ever say, oh, Jesus to me when I want to use the stairs, you little bitch.
There's other stairs.
You are a sick, fucking, ignorant teenager.
Oh, thank you.
Fucking what, middle-aged woman? Who wears black in California sun? Who the fuck wears black? Are you an idiot? You wear black in California sun? Seriously?
Wow.
You were black in California, son?
I never heard the end of that video.
You were black in California.
Let me tell you something.
Black in California, you fucking idiot.
Y'all need to start putting blood up in their mouth. I bet you they close it up there.
Y'all don't know how to spit in nobody's face when the camera's there. Like there's nobody there but you and her, and you didn't spit in her face or nothing. It couldn't be me.
Not one.
That old lady has dementia. I'll let her walk away from her.
Please, if you old and you got dementia, you better remember to shut your mouth.
Ooh.
She wasn't done that day. She actually ran to another Asian person and decided to tell them about themselves as well.
Great. Did you just make a racist comment?
You know what? I am not a racist person.
You just made a
But you know
racist
what?
comment.
You need to go home.
I am from here.
Look it. Go home.
I am here from here.
Go home. I don't care about your Facebook or your video.
Oh, okay. You're
Do you
making
know
a
how
racist
many
comment
people
right
can't
now?
stand you being
Oh,
here?
great.
You play games. We don't play games.
Oh, what kind of game are you playing?
I play games where you get fucked to death.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Let me take your card. Let me put your number plate too.
You get away
Great.
from me.
So this lady
I'm calling the
just
police on
made
you.
a racist comment. I can't believe this.
You are going to go to real jail now.
Well, great. You are.
Understand me, kind of man?
I think you're going.
Understand me, kind of man? You understand me, kind of man?
Respect.
Respect.
Respect people.
Respect.
Lady.
I don't understand your language,
Respect.
man.
Lady.
Respect, then you move your car. You're
There you
way
go.
too close. Get away from me.
There you go. You don't even know how to park the car. You don't
know who
even
my
know.
family is?
There you go.
Do you know who my family is? Do you know who your family is? Go home to your family. This is from your government.
Respect,
Go home.
lady.
Go home.
Get
This is
educated
from my
and
government.
respect.
This is from my government.
Get
Go home. You're getting
educated
fucked.
and
you are so
respect.
Fucked. You're gonna get fucked. Your
Get
kids are gonna get fucked.
respect.
This is my
Get educated and
country.
respect, lady.
This is my
Did you
country,
finish
and
college?
This is from my government.
Did you finish
Go
college?
Home.
Did you finish
Put
college?
that on your Facebook.
Did you?
You know what?
Did you?
You are nothing. What did you say?
You're nothing.
I said,
Exactly. You're nothing right there.
What?
Lady, get educated and respect.
Little boyfriend.
Girl, let me tell you something.
Girl.
I done more to less, okay? I done wore people out more for less. I'd have blocked her car in and made her go over the top. You feeling so tough.
Is this what you would have done to, well, we got Demon Karen coming up next, but I actually want to skip one. I want to skip to Old Karen because I feel like this is all the energy that everyone should have given to to Fat Karen.
I got you on recording now. You told me to go back to Oakland, right? Let me tell your dusty, dirty, dingy, mannequin-built ass something. You don't tell me where the fuck to go. When you leave your house, you old, stanky-ass lady, you are in the world. So you don't tell me to go back to Oakland. You take your wrinkled pussy ass to Oakland. Get your funky mass ass to Oakland. You got a whole COVID-19 fit on with your dusty ass. You the reason why this shit is here. And you got hella senior citizen spit on your motherfucking sweater telling somebody to go to Oakland. Huh?
Talking for a minute.
Huh?
Can you control your mouth for
You
1
need to
minute?
control your ass because it stink. You need to go get in the wheelchair.
vulgarity.
Get your old funky ass about here telling somebody to go
I'm
back to
80
Oakland.
years old.
You're an okay, you act like you're 80-something years old. Your age don't matter. It seems like you're racist because you see me riding by and you tell a black person to go back to Oakland. So it's black people in Oakland, right? Ain't no black people in Alameda?
There's more white people living.
All right, okay, well get your dusty, wrinkled bag, trash face having ass up out of here then. Don't tell no black person to go back to Oakland. You can't tell me where to go, all right? I'm fucking grown.
That's what we needed.
That's right.
I'm on. You know what? That's it. He's
Now,
got the Holy Ghost.
now I'm like them Asian people now. I think I'm just gonna leave y'all alone. 'Cause if my mouth, I would just spit in your face and just leave it alone. spitting in somebody's face is the least. I would rather somebody spit in my face than talk to me like that. What the fuck? Like, wow. He was waiting on somebody to come up on him. Like he was
waiting.
He had that in the tuck.
That's all I need. Ready to go off the deep end.
Wait, this is the kind of energy that we need. You know, this is what we need. When we're
This
going
man had puns and he had punchlines.
Oh, he was ready. Ready for some phone call.
She said, "I'm 80 years old." He said, "Well, act like you goddamn 80."
Ooh, wee.
All right. Next up, we have Demon Karen. We all know Demon Karen.
Is this your property? Hi, I'm asking you if this is your property.
Why are you asking?
Because
it's private property.
Because it's private property, sir.
Are you defacing private property, or is this your building? You're free to express your opinions, but not on people's property. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Just respectfully.
Sure.
So we're just saying, absolutely, your signs and everything, and that's good. This is not the way to do it.
Okay.
It's private property.
But if I did live here and it was my property, this would be absolutely fine.
If it,
And you don't know if I live here or if this is my property.
We actually do know. That's why we're asking.
Oh, really? Because you live here, right? You
No,
said so.
because we know the person who does live here.
Oh, okay.
So
Then
that's all
I
we
suggest
wanted to
you
ask.
call
I'm
him
not
or
disagreeing with
call the
you.
police.
I don't
Or
wanna call the police.
because
What do you
you're
want me
accusing me
to?
of a crime, correct?
What I'm asking you is why are you
And I'm
doing
not
this?
answering you.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So your choices are to call the cops if you believe I'm calling a crime, and I will more than be happy to talk to him.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name again?
I'm Lisa.
Lisa, what's your last name?
What is your name?
What's your name? I asked
I'm
first,
not
Lisa.
committing a crime,
What's your name,
sir.
sir? What's your last name, sir?
What is your first name, sir?
I'm not answering. I'm not talking to you. You're talking to me. I'm asking you the questions.
Well, we're not doing anything illegal.
Neither am I.
Actually, you are actually.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, then call the cops.
Thank you. We will do. So.
Lisa and Robert.
Yeah.
I'll be right here.
Okay, thank you. So
Bye. And that, people, is why Black Lives Matter. That's Karen, and she's calling the cops. And this is going to be really funny. Because she knows the people who live here. Personally.
He's better than I was. I would have. Look at that demon.
Way too much conversation.
Look at that.
Wait,
I would have said.
first
I
of
would have
all,
said, if you know the people, call him, and you know it's going to ring my phone, girl. What are you talking about? Like, call.
But you know what, y'all? I don't know if I've ever told y'all this, but I used to have this phobia of white women with dark hair like that. And it went away for a while. When I saw this picture, I was like, damn, it's back.
Let me tell you something. She looks like Teddy Perkins. Like, I'm not arguing with Teddy Perkins. That Teddy Perkins episode of Atlanta. I'm not arguing with you.
It's like, ew, why you look like that? Looking like Caitlyn Jenner. Oh.
Like you belong in a
Hold up,
weed box
we're
somewhere.
not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. Later in the week, that street was rebranded. People took to the street and decided to chalk it up. Very beautiful. So that was Demon Karen. Next up, we have Hammer Karen. Look, it's been a lot of Karens this week. I'm sorry, guys. But this is Klub Karen. Hammer Karen is crazy as hell.
And I got you on video that you're destroying my car. Thank you.
Get the fuck out of this neighborhood. You fucking shit.
Yep. Cool, lady.
Call, please.
I'm calling. Don't worry.
Could have told us. Hi, I'm at 10408 Glade Avenue. Because my neighbor has two fucking hammers in her goddamn hand and she's assaulting the car.
She's destroying property. Let them know that. And I have her on video.
More Dion. Dion said more black in the California. Turns out this wasn't her only altercation of that day. She got into a little scuffle with, I guess, that same next door neighbor's mother or somebody like that.
You got a problem, bitch? Is there a problem, motherfucker? You put your motherfucking shit on me again, bitch. Tell me to go the fuck back somewhere, bitch. Tell me. Tell me, bitch. Tell me. Now turn that motherfucking hose off, bitch, before I shove up your fucking ass. You understand me, bitch? I'm not a motherfucker to be played with. Do you understand me, bitch? So you fucked up your car, bitch, and you think that shit is cute, bitch, but it ain't, Becky. Motherfucking racist, bitch. You racist motherfucker. I'm sick of you bitches. I'm sick of you bitches. You understand me, bitch? Do you understand me, bitch?
I know it's right. Shut up.
Yeah. I think that is actually my favorite one because, and the reason I say that I put that one number one is because she got what we needed to be done. Like, you put your hands on the woman. The other guy was really good because he cursed her out or whatever, and I know she went home and cried. But this woman actually laid hands, and I think that's all you need is to lay hands or spit in their faces, and I think they'll stop the BS.
That's it.
I'm not about to watch you put a hammer through my car. Now I know I'm putting out there and dealt with it. I'm assuming, I don't know, but maybe she was like, "Mom, look what she did," and Mom was like, "Oh hell no."
I would have recorded it like she did. She was right for recording it, so that way you have evidence. And then I would have turned the camera on and beat her like she stole something. I would beat her like she hit my car with a hammer, and then I would take it to the cops and make her pay for it.
And then I would have put her in a trash can that she jumped over and drug her ass down the street and kicked her in the middle of the road.
I know what's right. Listen, I know what's right. Don't play with me, honey. Don't drop me. He forgives. I don't.
Sis got dealt with, didn't she? She got
right in them bushes.
Right in the bushes.
Right in them bushes.
So that was Klub Karen. We had one more, but we don't really have time for it. But I want to get to something Black excellence, which is more impressive. I want you to know that we do have some excellence out here. Number one is by our good friend on TikTok. She is a force of nature. Her name is Auntie Chantel. Here we go.
I am in the store. Trying on my shoes. What do you want? They've been trying me. Okay. Have you ever done it in the store? Y'all gonna learn that. Cash. Don't play with me. A next challenge.
Let's go. Let's go, Auntie.
Nephew, we celebrating.
Let's go. Let's go.
You should have given me something hard. I'm gonna do it with a shoe off. Leave the car running, please, nephew. Keep it moving.
I got you. I got you. Cash.
Auntie!
What? What's wrong?
They talking trash about you on TikTok.
I'm bleaching my hair. What they saying?
That you can't shoot in no men's ball?
Are you serious? Is that a men's ball right there?
Oh, yeah.
Let me get this real quick. Give it to
Cash. In there like swimwear.
I love that lady, man. I love her. I
want to follow her.
I love her. I guess she's a former WNBA player, but still.
And mother walked right back in the house with her shower cap on.
Laid down after she was done. Don't play with me.
This was ready. Was that more impressive than this? We call it the getaway. Something happened between a young man and a young lady. She was expecting some monetary funds for something. He did not give it to her, so she decided to chase him down.
Somebody get this motherfucker. Like, for real. Motherfucker walking barefooted chasing me. Then left her car and some more shit. Please. Please, yeah. She said she finna stick my bitch ass.
I hope that bitch die.
God damn, this motherfucker in here. Look at the toes.
They done, bitch.
I'm just saying, but what you doing out there for?
Bitch.
You tweaking, fool.
Bitch, just give me my money, ho.
You don't do I just gave you that, fool.
Bitch, you ain't give me shit,
Bro,
ho.
what is wrong with you, man?
I'm gonna show you what's wrong with me, bitch.
God damn. For real, bro. Put on your shoes, fool. Stop fucking with me, bro.
I'm not.
Bro, go on, fool. What the fuck you mean, bro? I just gave you that little $28.
Bitch, no, you didn't, ho.
Bro, you tweaking that hoe. Hey, bro. Hey, man, get this bitch. She run fast as hell. Get this bitch. Bro, stop. Call police on your ass. Man, look. I got $30. Fuck that, I got $50. Somebody pull up and snatch this whole wig off, man. This bitch playing with me. For real. Bro, stop playing, fool. Go get your car. Bro, I'm just using it for my security purpose. You might lie and tell the police I hit you like last time. Yes, I went to jail for that shit. So? Hey, fuck that, bro. Come on. Hey, fool, come on. Come on, pull up, come on. Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. Oh, hold on. Oh, shit. Bro. Go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My nigga. Yes. This is what we do. This is what we do when niggas in stress. We watch that.
That's such your energy.
I'm into it. That's how you gotta be for your friends. That's how you.
You gotta pull up. You just gotta pull up wherever they at. You just gotta pull up,
bro. Like I can tell where you was at because I saw the location. I know she crazy. I'm pulling up. We're pulling up, and I want that $50 too, though.
Dex, can you get the backstory from your cousins? Like, what she wanted the money for?
What she doing? What she doing?
You know that's my family. Let me stop for me watching. I get in trouble.
All right, it's now time for Dex's BS report.
All right, guys. So I had a quick meeting with my team today, and they told me to switch up something on the BS report, and I'll tell you guys about that in just a second. So Dex's BS report time. All right. So Nickelodeon recently alluded to the fact that SpongeBob may be a part of the LGBTQ community, but Nickelodeon is not the only Cartoon Network that is going to be a part of this. No pun intended by saying the only Cartoon Network, because Cartoon Network is set to announce 2 of their characters are a part of the LGBTQ community, and they're going to announce it before the end of this month because this is Pride Month. Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls and Velma from Scooby-Doo are expected to be announced as members of the community.
I'm sorry. Carry on.
BuzzFeed is working on a documentary called When Were You Fed Up? It's called When Were You Fed Up? And it's basically Trump supporters who voted for him in the 2016 election and where they are now and at what moment was it when they were completely fed up with him. And you guys will have exclusive details about this documentary because I am going to be participating in it. And then the final story is failed traveler Christopher Columbus is he's going down. There are states across the United States that are pulling down Christopher Columbus statues, including Christopher Columbus University. All right, guys. I usually say what's the truth, what's the lie, but this case it's 2 lies and 1 truth. What's the truth?
You in that Trump documentary?
Everyone believes that Buttercup was straight and Velma was also probably a lesbian. So those 2, Dusty Velma. So those 2 might be true. Dex, you're working on. So we're made to believe that you're working on a documentary involving people leaking things about Donald Trump.
No, the documentary is people who were Trump supporters in 2016 and voted for him. They're now fed up with him from stuff that he's done. And basically the documentary is us talking about what moment in the past 4 years was the final piece for us. Like what broke the camel's back for us. That's basically what we're talking about in the documentary.
Who let you in?
Oh, that's not Dex because he still supports Trump. He hasn't had enough.
That middle one.
What's the truth? It's one of the.
You know what? He's probably in it saying that's going to be his grand revelation, his Kanye moment when he says, "Look, it was all a farce." So it could be it.
So, you think that was true, Ty? What do you think is true?
What was the third one again?
The third one is Christopher Columbus statues coming down, including one at Christopher Columbus University.
I'm sure
that part is true, except I don't know about that last. You added that little statement on the comment.
See, you be having these little qualifiers, and anything could be wrong in these situations. And the whole thing is wrong. So I think definitely the middle one's a lie. He's not doing
I'm going with that one.
So
only one of them is true. So which one is true?
The Powerpuff is it the cartoons?
The Powerpuff Girl story is true.
I know SpongeBob's gay. They released that, but I don't know about. I ain't hear nothing about no Powerpuff Girl.
I don't know about the Powerpuff Girl.
I didn't hear nothing about Dusty Velma, as Andre called her.
I would say they let Dex in a documentary.
All right, guys. The truth is there are statues of Christopher Columbus going down everywhere, including one at Columbus State University. And the other ones, I don't know anything about the sexual orientation. Girls are children, so like obviously not.
Right, I didn't understand the Powerpuff Girls.
Whatever.
Hold up. You said Columbus State University, not Christopher Columbus University.
Yeah, you kind of little you more
whatever. That one is coming down, and the other one about Donald Trump could not be true because I didn't vote for Donald Trump.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did,
guys. No, I didn't.
Lies. That was Dex's BS report for the day. It is time for seats. Billiam.
It's tie.
Listen, we tired. It's time for seats. Look, y'all got seats today? I know you do.
I actually have a quick seat today for Donald Trump. So last week during Dex's BS report, I told this story, which was a lie about, and I think Donald Trump watches this show.
Hold up. You can't just say I told this story. It was a lie.
No, we put it out there. There was.
You saying during the BS report? Okay, I thought you were saying last week during your seat you told a story and it was a lie. I was about to say seats can't be a lie.
No, my seats are always true. I told this story during the BS report about Vegas and Miami doing this thing where you have to sign waivers if you want to come and party at their states. That was completely a lie. We said that on the show last week. How about Donald Trump is now doing that for his rallies? You watched the show. You're a fan. Also, speaking of lies that I did, so last week I was talking to Dion and we were talking about Beyonce doing some stuff with Disney, and he was reading a comment or something like that, and somebody said Beyonce should play Storm. So I put that in on the Bro Talk page, like, oh, what if Beyonce played Storm or whatever? It was completely a lie. It was a lie that literally I made up. I made up the lie. I put it out there on the Bro Talk page. People reacted to it. The very next day, someone from YouTube picked it up and put it out there, and they said an unnamed source, say Bro Talk Live, say where you got your stuff from. You literally took a lie that I told and put it out there and had the whole internet abuzz about a story that I made up and I got no credit for it. So you can see that
you just made you ain't get no credit for it.
You know where you got this story from.
Yeah, it's bad. Anybody else have seats? Because our viewers have some seats that they would like to give as well.
Let's give a viewer seat. Let's
Here we go. Give Trump the seat for trying to have his rally in Tulsa on Juneteenth. He did change the date to the day afterward, to the 20th.
And he was cited as saying, "I knew that date had some significance. I didn't know what, but it was bigly in my mind. Millions and millions of people told me, but I told myself that we had to move it because it was significant."
MAGA loves the black.
But MAGA loves you blacks. Sleepy Joe wants to know that if you're not black, if you don't vote for him, but over here in MAGA land, we love the blacks. You pick the best cotton. Nobody's done it like you.
Nobody's done it like you. Hit Ben Carson with the seat. Ben Carson apparently said he would work with Donald Trump to change views on athletes kneeling during the national anthem. So
he ain't Donald Trump on the daggone housing agenda.
So apparently he thinks that he can change the president's mind and get the president on board with kneeling during the anthem. And maybe he'll get him to say Black Lives Matter too. Who knows?
Ben Carson also said that people who are on public assistance should be paying more in taxes because they depend on the government.
which makes zero sense.
I think he did his head or something. I think there's something wrong with him now.
I think it's something wrong with him.
Yeah, one movie made it about you, and you just lose your mind.
Dex Fatima says her seat goes to Dion, saying that LeBron is selfish and he just wants to ring this year, talking about why he wants to play. Don't come for mine and lie. Shakima says
what is mine exactly?
I guess not. It was not you. Shakima says, I'm sitting corporations who are going to try and benefit off Juneteenth in advance. My job has already announced that it's going to be a company holiday for the first time ever. How do you guys feel about Juneteenth being a big thing now?
I've always it's interesting. I've always celebrated Juneteenth, but now everybody's like, Kwanzaa, it's Juneteenth.
Kwanzaa. Not Kwanzaa.
Girl, you know that
I'm okay with it. Like, absolutely celebrate it, but don't try to capitalize it on it this year and then think look at you next year to see like what you're doing.
Andre would give Candace Owens a whole damn row on the seats. Ty, what were you saying?
Yeah, people gonna start selling up there. You gotta see where this stuff is coming from because people want to try to definitely capitalize on it.
Absolutely. And also came as another seat. Also seeing Trump's ass for not releasing another stimulus checks. Y'all are the F raggedy. There was rumors of a new stimulus check coming. It said it would be about $4,000 per person, including vacation.
Well, where is it?
It's gonna be like vacation money or something like that they want you to spend this time.
But y'all can't come up with no reparations money. Oh, okay.
They in the back printing it up, Will. You know they be in the back printing that money out.
I hope so, because the U.S. Mint is next.
What you mean next? With the rioters? What you mean?
I just mean they're next. I didn't say anything. I just said they're next.
That's what it is. All right. Those are the seats that we have for this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you saw your comment on the show, that means that we saw you and we appreciate you guys tuning in. I tried to get everybody that posted something here on the show. So if I missed you, it's my apologies, but we really appreciate you guys watching and continue to participate in the show. Do you guys have any shout outs that you would like to give individually?
Again, I would like to give a shout out to All Worlds Apparel. All Worlds Apparel on Instagram. Make sure you all get over there, get your tees. My guy Beckett for watching, and everybody who supports us watching the show. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in with us.
Shout out to Kavon saying good stuff. We really appreciate it, man. Ty, do you have any shout outs to give or anything like that?
Shout out to everybody watching the show with us and rocking with us all this time.
Ty, you have that line rehearsed. That's what you say.
For real. Thank you for not helping at all, Ty. Dex, any more specific that you would like to give a shout out to?
Just everybody who's watching. Like,
thank you again for not participating in my goal of just making one person feel special. But I guess not.
I never want to do just one person because I really appreciate literally everybody who watches and comments and everything like that. Like, and if you guys have products and stuff that you're working on, please put it in the comments so we can support you guys too. We're a community here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, wait a minute. I actually want to also give a shout out to Curtis. He is celebrating his first year, like his 1 year anniversary as an overseer in the church. I helped do his consecration service last year. And he posted some pictures that I completely forgot about. So happy 1 year anniversary, Curtis. And thank you for supporting our show.
Kevon just wrote it that he wants his own personal shout out. So shout out to Kevon Turman. He actually does a podcast, The Brothers Brunch. If you guys are interested in great conversation that usually are like off limits and everything like that, check him out.
What's the call again?
The
Brothers Brunch. And they just launched the podcast.
All right, cool. Ty, what were you saying?
Shout out to Fatima who supports our show and always agrees with my
She can really go. Like that one there, like, come on.
And I'm very excited about attending her next event.
Shout out to Jamar for still watching.
That's what we should have been saying. The main Jamar Jackson or Johnson.
Yeah, get his name right, Jamar Johnson. Please, thank you. All right, cool. All right, you guys have a good week. We appreciate you guys watching. This has been another edition of Bro Talk Live. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bro Talk Live, at Bro Talk Live Pod. And we will see you guys next week. For Dex, for Ty, for Bill. My name is Jay. This has been another edition of Bro Talk. Peace.